Actress Natalie Wood was intoxicated and angry after an argument between her husband and actor Christopher Walken when she stormed off a yacht this weekend and apparently fell into the sea. The report said there was no evidence of foul play in the 43-year-old actress's death.
I lied. I let the truth sink with the waves for 40 years. When Captain Dennis Davern uttered those words 40 years after Natalie Wood's tragic death, the recording studio fell completely silent. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse with the weight of guilt. 40 years ago, he was the last person awake aboard the yacht Splendor when Natalie Wood disappeared into the night. He had heard mysterious sounds and seen things he shouldn't have seen. At dawn, only 3 men remained on the yacht, and Natalie's body floated a few hundred meters away. The report concluded accidental drowning. But in Dennis's eyes, the truth was never that simple. He knew that death involved human hands, someone who had prevented him from calling the police. Was there someone behind it, ensuring that Natalie Wood would sink forever to the bottom of the ocean? What other details were hidden behind Dennis's testimony? Watch the full video to find out. On the night of November 28, 1981, the yacht Splendor swayed like a drunken beast amidst the black waters off Catalina Island. Cold wind whistled through the mooring lines, carrying the salty scent mingled with the sharp aroma of spilled wine, the remnants of champagne from dinner at Doug's Harbor Reef. Neon lights from the deck cast dim reflections on the rippling water like whispers of fate. 4 people were aboard the luxury yacht Natalie Wood, her hair tousled, wearing a red fur coat. Robert Wagner, face flushed from alcohol and jealousy. Christopher Walken, silently observing from a corner of the deck. And Dennis Davern, 25-year-old captain and close friend, caught between the lines of loyalty. Tension exploded like a ticking bomb. Laughter from the restaurant turned into sharp words. A crash, a wine bottle shattered on the wooden floor. "Are you trying to sleep with my wife?" Wagner's voice thundered, striking Walken. Natalie intervened, screaming, "Don't," amidst cabin door slams, heavy footsteps, and labored breathing. Then she disappeared into the bedroom at 11:45 p.m., dressed in thick sleepwear, a flannel shirt, red fur coat, wool socks, not attire for venturing onto the deck in the cold night. What followed was deadly silence, broken only by the gentle lapping of waves against the hull, like the whispers of death. On the morning of November 29th, the sun rose on a horrifying scene. Natalie Wood's body was found face down, floating 1.6 kilometers from Splendor off Blue Cavern Point, clad in her thick sleepwear. The dinghy Prince Valiant lay only 200 meters away, as if someone had tried to hold her back or push her away. Forensic pathologist Thomas Noguchi. Hollywood's coroner concluded drowning combined with hypothermia, blood alcohol, 0.14%, twice the legal driving limit, along with anti-nausea and pain medications. Bruises on her right arm, left wrist, right knee, scratches on neck and forehead, initially thought to result from a drunken slip. LAPD closed the case within days. Accidental death. Among them, Dennis Davern, the young man dreaming of working for Hollywood stars, initially claimed nothing unusual. He stayed working for Wagner for another year, captaining the yacht, remaining silent like a ghost. But his conscience was gnawed by guilt. He had heard the argument, the door slams, Natalie's scream of, "Don't." He saw Wagner prevent the lights from being turned on, saying, "Leave her there, teach her a lesson." Davern witnessed everything but had to wait 30 years to speak, fearing being held hostage by Hollywood power, the invisible hands of Sinatra and Sheriff Pitchess. Why does a supposed accident haunt 4 decades like an unending curse? Why did a body in thick sleepwear float in the ocean, bruises inconsistent with a simple fall? Why was rescue delayed 6 hours when every minute in cold water was a stolen chance of survival? These questions gnawed at Davern like termites until he could stay silent no longer. Now Davern, the only survivor from that fateful night, dares to tell all. But will justice hear Natalie's scream after 44 years? Or will Hollywood bury it again under a false glamour? Davern has spoken, and the darkness aboard Splendor is spreading, no longer hidden. Dennis Davern was born in 1956 and was the captain of the yacht Splendor, a luxury vessel owned by Hollywood couple Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood. Born in Margate City, New Jersey, Davern grew up by the sea, fascinated by boats from age 6 with his first rowboat. He pursued his dream of working for the stars and in 1973 helped move Splendor from Florida to California, a life-changing journey. Wagner hired him as official captain in 1975, and Davern became close friends with Natalie. Over 8 years of service, he witnessed the glamorous but stormy life of the couple parties with Sinatra and Elizabeth Taylor, but also Wagner's jealous arguments. After Natalie Wood's death in 1981, Dennis Davern, the young captain who once dreamed of Hollywood, chose silence, but the silence was far from peaceful. He moved to St. Augustine, Florida, a small coastal town, opened a marina, and tried to live normally. Yet every night, the image of Splendor returned like a ghost, screams, door slams, and Natalie's terrified face. Guilt gnawed at him for nearly 3 decades like an indelible curse. In 1992, conscience prompted Davern to contact Lana Wood, Natalie's sister. In a private conversation, he revealed that his initial testimony did not tell the full story. He admitted hearing the argument, seeing Wagner prevent the search, but dared not speak fully for fear of consequences. Lana urged him to speak out, but Davern hesitated. He knew Hollywood power could crush anyone who dared oppose it. However, it wasn't until 2009, after 28 years of silence, that Davern broke free. Together with childhood friend and persistent investigator Marty Rulli, he published Goodbye Natalie, Goodbye Splendor. The book became an instant bestseller like a slow-burning bomb in Hollywood. Its pages eventually led to the case being reopened in 2011 when the LAPD admitted that Davern's testimony deserved further exploration. In the book, Davern first revealed shocking details about that fateful night. According to him, the trip began like any normal post-Thanksgiving vacation. The group Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood, Christopher Walken, and Davern left Marina del Rey for Catalina Island. They dined at Doug's, but tension quickly escalated. Natalie became irritable, smashed a glass, prompting the manager to call patrols due to the group's drunkenness. Returning to the yacht around 10 p.m., the drinking continued and jealousy flared. Wagner worried Natalie was flirting with Walken, though they were only talking about movies. Around 11 p.m., tension erupted. Wagner smashed a wine bottle on the floor, yelling at Walken while Natalie screamed, "Don't to intervene." After the storm, she returned to her cabin and went to sleep at 11:45 p.m., wearing thick flannel red fur coat and wool socks, not prepared to go out into the dark night. From the cabin, Davern heard the fierce argument, yelling, door slams, then the dinghy hitting the water. When Wagner ran out sweating and showing concern, he announced Natalie is missing. Davern begged to turn on the radio to call for help and search lights, but Wagner forbade it. Don't do that, she'll come back. They waited until 1:30 a.m. to call the police, 4 hours in the freezing cold before Natalie was discovered dead. On November 29th, her body was 1.6 kilometers from the yacht, the dinghy 200 meters away, and the rope loosely tied. Who untied it? Wagner appeared concerned. Walken cried, disappointed. Davern believed Wagner had pushed Natalie out of jealousy, based on bruises on her armrest knee and scratches on her neck, injuries that couldn't result from a simple fall, as confirmed by the 2013 forensic report. By 2018, tensions escalated when Davern strongly declared this was murder, repeating Wagner's obstruction of the search. Two new witnesses, a 17-year-old sailor and an 80-year-old woman, confirmed the argument and violence, calling Davern highly credible. In a 2019 exclusive interview on the Dr. Oz show, Davern added that Walken cried silently, not saying a word when police arrived, while Wagner pressured him. "It's an accident, she slipped while securing the dinghy. Keep quiet. Lawyer will handle it later." The cabin was storm-tossed with signs of violence, according to Davern. Ruli Wagner's attorney had controlled Davern's mental state in the early years after the death. A lie detector confirmed Davern's statements, matching Marilyn Wayne, who heard Natalie scream, "Help me! Wagner will kill me." However, Wagner's version contradicted Davern completely. Natalie just went to sleep, then disappeared. Maybe she tried to secure the boat and slipped. Walken initially remained silent later, changing his testimony. "I was asleep, knew nothing." But Davern stood firm. "I clearly heard the argument. Wagner stopped me from turning on the searchlight, saying, 'Leave her there, teach her a lesson.'" It wasn't only Davern. New witnesses came forward. The most shocking was a Californian man now in his 60s, who in 1981 was only 17, working on a fishing boat near Splendor. He contacted investigator Marty Ruli, still haunted by what he heard: a violent argument between Wood and Wagner, followed by desperate female screams. "Help me! Somebody help me! I'm drowning with crashing objects and pounding on the hull." He was awakened around 11 p.m., heard the cries for 15-20 minutes, then silence. Initially, he didn't report it, assuming it was a simple drowning, a case quickly closed as an accident. Now he recounts Natalie's screams unnerved me like a desperate plea for help. This testimony aligns with Dennis Davern's timeline argument at 11 p.m., Wood missing at 11:45 p.m., and her body found the next morning with bruises inconsistent with a drunken fall. The second witness was Marilyn Wayne, now over 70, a former stockbroker whose private dock was only 50 feet from Splendor with her boyfriend and son. She publicly testified in 2011, but now revealed chilling details. She heard Wood's screams from 11:05 to 11:25 p.m. "Help me, someone, help me, I'm drowning." And a drunken male voice replied, "Oh wait, we'll come rescue you." She called the harbor patrol, but no one answered, thinking it a joke from the nearby party. Wayne added that Natalie had whispered to her earlier, "Wagner will kill me." If true, Wood feared not only the dark waters, but also living in terror of her husband, a man who admitted to slapping her out of jealousy. Wayne received a threatening letter just 3 days later. "Stay quiet if you value your life," silencing her for decades. In the forthcoming book, Natalie Wood and the Devil She Knew, 2025 attorney Linda Ruli urges the Los Angeles District Attorney to act immediately. She calls for a grand jury to compel Robert Wagner to testify under oath, a historic first in the case. Ruli argues that new evidence combined with old records suffices to charge homicide, emphasizing, "This case will remain open as long as Wagner is alive, for he is the prime suspect. Let the jury decide. He must face everyone." To protect witnesses, she keeps their names confidential, but affirms the testimony is highly credible, consistent with over 100 reports received since 2011. From that point, Wagner is considered the prime suspect. In 2018, Lieutenant John Carina publicly stated, "His testimony doesn't match any other witness. We know he was the last person with Natalie before she disappeared." Los Angeles police contacted Wagner multiple times directly or through attorneys, but he refused interviews since the case reopened in 2011, a move investigator Ralph Hernandez called unreasonable. Wagner consistently denies all allegations, insisting on the drunken accident version. Yet contradictions are clear. Initially, he claimed Wood went to sleep, then disappeared. later admitted an argument, but denied violence entirely. Karina notes, "We almost understand what happened, but time is against us. The deadliest detail is the rescue delay. Natalie went missing at 11:45 p.m., but Davern only radioed the Harbor Patrol at 1:30 a.m., 2.5 hours elapsed. Wagner called the Coast Guard at 3:30 a.m., and rescue vessel Roger Smith was deployed at 5:11 a.m. Smith, who found the body, admitted, "With our equipment, she could have been saved, she would have survived. Water temperature 13° drastically reduced survival chances in minutes. 6 hours equaled a death sentence." Despite clear evidence and witnesses, Wagner has never been charged. For years, Robert Wagner denied everything, sticking to a single narrative. The night of November 28, 1981, aboard Splendor was an unfortunate accident. Natalie Wood drunkenly slipped and disappeared. No violence, no jealousy, no responsibility. In his memoir, Pieces of My Heart, 2008, he wrote in a sorrowful tone, "I loved Natalie more than anyone. We knew each other better than ourselves." But when the LAPD knocked in 2011 to reopen the case, Wagner vanished behind legal walls, offering no clear explanation. Whenever police contacted him at least 2 or 3 times, Wagner refused, communicating only through the cold spokesperson Blair Burke. Mr. Wagner has nothing to do with his wife's death. In 2018, when LASD officially called him the primary person of interest, Lieutenant John Karina nearly shouted on camera, "His testimony doesn't match any other witness. He was the last person with Natalie before she disappeared." Wagner remained silent quietly, living in his Beverly Hills mansion with Jill St. John, whom he married only 10 weeks after Wood's funeral. Avoidance had become his survival instinct. But their marriage was never a fairy tale. Their first wedding in 1957, with romantic Arizona Snow 300 VIP guests cheering 4-carat diamond rings sparkling, was called a dream wedding by the press. Just 4 years later, the dream shattered when Natalie caught Wagner cheating not with another woman, but with David Cavendish, their English butler. Shocked, she overdosed on sleeping pills and was hospitalized, but to protect her husband's Bobby Sox idol image, Wood stayed silent and let the media speculate she was having an affair with Warren Beatty. Sister Lana Wood later exclaimed, "Natalie saw RJ with a man, and it destroyed her." Wagner denied all, calling it malicious tabloid rumors. They divorced in 1962, but fate brought them back together in 1972 on London streets. Their second wedding occurred quietly aboard the yacht Ramblin' Rose off Malibu, and Courtney was born in 1974. Outwardly, the perfect family parties with Sinatra Elizabeth Taylor smiles for cameras, but inside was a hell of jealousy. Wagner controlled Wood like a prisoner, banning intimate scenes, jealous of every male co-star from Steve McQueen to Christopher Walken. In Natalie Wood's secret memoir, revealed via the podcast Fatal Voyage 2018, she wrote, "Our marriage had serious problems. I didn't even know myself anymore." Rumors of Wagner's infidelity never stopped. Beyond Cavendish, he was accused of being close to Jill St. John. Before Wood's death, they dated just 10 weeks after the funeral, according to police records in 2025. As for rumors of affairs with Barbara Stanwyck and Joan Crawford, Wagner dismissed them. Completely fabricated, "I loved Natalie and would never betray her." But Wood was not innocent either. She had an affair with FBI agent Donald Goodwin Wilson from 1973 to 1977, even while pregnant with Courtney. Jealousy became a slow-acting poison, and the fateful night on Splendor was the last straw. Even Natalie's sister Lana Wood suspected Robert Wagner for years. "He killed my sister. If he had nothing to hide, why didn't he shout to the police? Ask me anything." Lana was no longer the little sister who admired her brother-in-law. She became an implacable enemy, spending 44 years uncovering the darkness aboard the yacht Splendor. She had once hoped it was just an accident, a drunken fall, a cruel twist of fate. But Davern recounted the fierce argument, the door slams, the wine bottle smashing, and Wagner preventing the searchlights. Leave her there, teach her a lesson. Lana shouted on the podcast Fatal Voyage. He is a coward living free for 44 years, while my sister froze to death out there. In the book Little Sister 2021, Lana wrote, with blood from the heart, Wagner killed Natalie in a drunken rage. He pushed my sister into the water to avoid responsibility, then covered it up with an accident theory. She described the fateful night as a storm. Wagner threatened Christopher Walken with a broken wine bottle, roared at Natalie, "Get off my boat." The cabin filled with sounds of fighting, Natalie's scream of "don't," then silence. Lana called him a murderer for panicking after realizing what he had done then, leaving my sister to die in the dark water. Lana had remained silent because she knew Wagner since she was 9, having called him brother-in-law. But the brutal truth struck her. In 2021, she said, "I always thought so, but now there is no choice. Wagner is the murderer." She accused him of cutting off the Wood family after the funeral, not informing them of the grandmother's death, and living without an ounce of regret. Lana sent tearful letters to Natasha and Courtney. "I tried, but they blindly protect their father." To this day, Wagner lives free for 44 years, while Davern lives with a nightmare. Yet the screams from Splendor still echo, and the darkness tightens more than ever. Beyond the witnesses, Natalie Wood's fan community has turned her death into an endless maze of conspiracy theories. Some believe the co-star on the yacht was not entirely innocent. At first, Walken stayed silent, merely claiming that Natalie just went to sleep, then disappeared. But when police arrived, he was seen crying uncontrollably, unable to hold back tears. Why such a strong reaction? Some hypothesize he witnessed the rage, perhaps even participated in it, and fear or guilt made him hide the truth for decades. There are whispers on forums and in investigative books that a deeper relationship existed between the two men on the yacht beyond ordinary friendship. Natalie may have discovered this secret, making her existence an unacceptable threat. Some believe that night silencing her was an unavoidable tragedy. But the hypothesis doesn't stop there. Some investigators and journalists emphasize the role of a power network. A powerful mogul, a close friend of Wagner, is said to have intervened from the beginning. This person allegedly called the city's police chief, directly ordering that the case be closed quickly. "Don't let the idol fall," they said. Hollywood did not merely hide a death, but protected the powerful, safeguarding the secrets of an entire network. The press was controlled, witnesses intimidated. Anyone daring to speak faced consequences. The case file was locked for 3 decades, and new information only emerged as private detectives and persistent journalists investigated piece by piece. Even critical testimony was ignored or blurred in the industry's timeline. Some theories delve into Natalie's dark past. A sexual assault in her youth when Kirk Douglas allegedly raped her, a secret buried, and her husband knew everything. Could that night have been delayed revenge, or the result of overwhelming pressure from life, from a toxic mother? From sleeping pills she had used since age 12? Her own prophecy. "If I die in the water, it's not an accident" was seen by some as a warning, by others as a desperate plea for help. The theories became stranger with time. Some believed Natalie was involved in a smuggling ring, or was the victim of a larger conspiracy involving other famous names who died mysteriously. Every piece of information was carefully circulated, whispered in the dark corners of forums, midnight tweets, even in handwritten letters sent directly to police. public interest never waned. Thousands signed petitions demanding Natalie's body be exhumed again to examine and seek remaining evidence. This group shared documents, reconstructed every moment on the yacht, analyzed all testimony, and overlooked fragments of evidence. On social media, the hashtag #DrachJustice spread widely like a scream that would never fade, reminding everyone of a tragedy never resolved. Whatever happened, all roads lead to a single man. Every direction from testimony forensics to whispers among stars points to the same name. The question hangs like fog over Catalina: will he ever be caught? At 95, he lives with his wife, Jill St. John, mainly residing at a luxurious Aspen, Colorado ranch, a retreat they chose in 2007 for privacy in the mountains. Occasionally, they travel to Beverly Hills or Santa Monica for family events, but most of the time is spent enjoying quiet afternoons, reading, watching old movies, and sharing rare moments on Instagram via their daughter's account. Wagner's health at 95 is considered quite good, though not without concerns. He maintains a regular exercise routine at the home gym with a personal trainer a few times a week, including light cardio weights and yoga for flexibility. Jill serves as major motivation, often encouraging him to exercise as she is very fit herself, having trained in ballet from a young age. His 95th birthday was privately celebrated in Santa Monica with Jill and their children, where he smiled brightly but looked more tired than the previous year. Wagner has been married to Jill St. John since 1990, a 35-year relationship originating from a friendship at Fox Studios in the 1950s. They met when young but reunited after Natalie Wood's death in 1981, dating for 8 years before marrying. Jill, the famous Bond girl, was the ideal companion, supporting him through the grief of losing his ex-wife. The couple shares a love of travel and cooking. They have no children together, but Jill considers Wagner's children her own. Wagner is the father of 3 daughters, 2 biological, 1 adopted, and proudly calls himself the luckiest father and grandfather. The eldest, Katie Wagner, from his second marriage to Marion Marshall, is an artist and music producer, living near her parents in Los Angeles. She struggled with addiction in youth, but is now stable, focused on music and charity. The second daughter, Courtney Wagner, from his marriage to Natalie Wood, is a renowned jewelry designer with her own brand. She lives in Malibu, having faced past challenges, but now is stable, focused on career and family. Adopted daughter Natasha Gregson Wagner is the biological child of Natalie Wood, and Richard Gregson, adopted by Wagner after her mother's death. Natasha is a filmmaker and author known for the documentary Natalie Wood: What Remains Behind 2020, in which she defends her stepfather. He would have sacrificed his life for my mother if she were in danger. She lives in Los Angeles with her husband Mandel Zlotnick and 2 children, including 13-year-old Clover, often sharing family moments online. Natasha regards Wagner as her guide after losing her mother at age 11. Speaking of Natalie, though, gone, her legacy shines like stage lights. She began her career very young, standing out in Miracle on 34th Street, quickly proving she was more than a child actor. Her transition from child actor to adult star was confirmed through classics like Rebel Without a Cause, 1955, Splendor in the Grass, 1961, and West Side Story, 1961. Through these roles, Wood became a model for future generations of young actors, proving that a child actor can still shine as an adult. Her roles were loved by audiences and recognized by critics. Wood received multiple prestigious award nominations, including Oscars, and won Golden Globes for films like Splendor in the Grass and Love with the Proper Stranger. Her role as Maria in West Side Story is one of the most iconic, contributing to the film's 10 Oscar wins. These achievements affirm Natalie Wood's talent and stature in American cinema history. Beyond acting, Natalie Wood had a profound impact on pop culture and the image of women in Hollywood. She appeared during the transition from old Hollywood to new Hollywood, broadening how audiences perceived female roles from innocence to complex, multi-layered characters. Wood was also known for negotiating fair compensation and rights in film projects rare for actresses at the time, laying the foundation for gender equality in the entertainment industry. Her legacy is also seen in her role as a mother and in family life. Wood was a mother of 2 daughters, always striving to balance career and parenting. Despite a busy career, she occasionally stepped away from the screen to spend time with her children, leaving a lasting image of a devoted and caring mother. Her daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner, continues to preserve her mother's memory through the documentary Natalie Wood: What Remains Behind 2020, while developing her own career and passing her mother's spirit to the next generation. Natalie Wood also left a lasting presence among her fans. Despite dying tragically at 43, her name and works live on. Many continue to watch her films, revisit her images, and engage with her story to connect with the past and appreciate the beauty of her iconic roles. This legacy proves that an artist lives not only in their work, but in the emotions of the audience. The shadow of her 1981 death also shapes the memory of Natalie Wood. Although the case remains controversial and undetermined since 2012, her daughter consistently defends and affirms the innocence of her stepfather, Robert Wagner, while emphasizing that baseless and painful accusations cannot overshadow her artistic contributions. This shows that Wood's legacy lies not only on screen, but also in the way her family and fans preserve her memory and dignity. Moreover, Natalie Wood remains a symbol of resilience and career autonomy. She not only acted, but also guided her roles, selected projects, and helped elevate the image of actresses. These steps inspire future female artists, especially in balancing fame with personal agency in Hollywood. Her legacy demonstrates that an artist can live on through their work, family memory, and societal contributions. Even after decades, her influence continues inspiring fans, colleagues, and new generations of actors. After more than 40 years of silence, Captain Dennis Davern finally dared to reveal previously undisclosed details about Natalie Wood's mysterious death. His accounts raise many unresolved questions, particularly regarding Robert Wagner's role. Was he truly involved in this heartbreaking event? Hollywood's mysteries are sometimes not just cinematic tales, but questions that haunt audiences for decades. Do you think Wagner is the culprit? Leave your opinion in the comments. If you find this video interesting and want to continue exploring Hollywood mysteries, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next captivating stories. Thank you for watching.